The best classic collection.
The Hammer Icons of Horror, which everybody loved. But the winner in this category was anything with Ray Harryhausen's name. It's hard for it not to win, and this time too. Ray Harryhausen's collectible DVD set, which came with an actual Yamur. And we also have an acceptance here. I don't know if I have to click or not. Hold on. This is from Arnold Kunert and John Rosas, who produced the entire production, including the commentary.
Hello, Louisville. Hello, Wonderfest. I'm Arnold Kunert, and I'm John Rosas. And John and I want to thank all the people who voted for this year's Rondo Award for Best Collection of 2008. And let me show you, in case you're not aware of it. There we go. Put Rondo over there. This is the box set containing 3 of Ray Harryhausen's legendary black and white films from the 50s, which were supervised by Ray for colorization. All 3 of the black and white versions are still on the discs, but the special edition of these contain many special features, including interviews with Ray, of course. Tim Burton, that's right. Tim was in London when Ray was doing his work, so we had Tim come over. Just chock full of great stuff. Many of you probably already have this, but I just want to reemphasize how wonderful it is and how much fun John and I had putting it together with Ray and others. I was aware of Rondo Hatton as far back as the late 1950s. Some of you remember Shock Theater, nationwide. I was living in Chicago at the time, but Rondo Hatton's film House of Horrors was one of the 35 or 40 films that was in the package from Universal that was showing nationwide in different cities at different times. It was usually on Saturday night, but it was at different studios. And so I was aware of Rondo Hatton as far back as the late 50s. And so when David Colton notified us that we were getting a Rondo Award, I was particularly thrilled. And I'm going to have Rondo on my bookcase, essentially looking at himself from now on. I think that would be appropriate, wouldn't it? Did I miss anything on the DVD, John?
Not on the DVD, but you...
Oh, I do want to mention something else. This isn't really an infomercial, but I thought Ray loves this particular book. Not written by him, but written by a dear friend of his and mine, Mike Hankin, and edited by Ernie Farino, who goes all the way back to the 1970s with Sam Calvin on FXRH. If you haven't already picked this book up off the internet, it's not available in stores. Ray and everyone else that I've spoken with, including Guillermo del Toro and Leonard Maltin and dozens of others, recommend this. It's called Ray Harryhausen, Master of the Magics, Volume 2. Volume 3 and Volume 1 will be released within the next couple of years. The reason Volume 2 was released first is that this contains very extensive interviews and a lot of details and photos never seen before from Ray's films, beginning in Mighty Joe Young, 49, and going through Seven Voyages Sinbad. So if you haven't already picked this up, check it out. archiveeditions.com is where you want to go. He's going to check it out. We're sorry we can't be with you, but I know you'll all have a good time. And again, thanks so much for voting for us. Thank you.
What's that dish rag for the cars? The
ShamWow.
ShamWow, yeah.
ShamWow.
This thing's getting out of hand. What did you think of that, Nurse Money?
That's good.
Yeah? It was long though, wasn't it?
Let's go. Rolling right along.
The nurse knows best. All right. Best DVD extra. Went to One for the Fire, which is a documentary on the 40th anniversary of Night of the Living Dead, which is pretty unbelievable. And it's 90 minutes. They take all the cast back to much of the scenes, and I think if this works, if it doesn't, I'll just skip it. Okay. Okay. Downloaded from YouTube.
This was the storage area.
Image presentation film.
Oh, man.
Geez, the film racks are still here.
Look at this. You know, Jack, of all of the recollections, this could possibly be the saddest one.
Yeah.
This is the room where film elements were stored, the film elements that weren't stored in the lab vault. But press kits, prints of the movie, outtakes, trims.
And not only that, but the late image presentation film that was so great that you guys made while I was still in the Army.
Wow.
That was a fantastic film.
This is the room where George Romero, myself, and the rest of us who killed ourselves for years making films, priceless films, that if anybody could uncover copies of those now, it would be absolutely priceless. And for George and myself as well, it was all stored here, and a flood came through and just took it all away. Ruined, absolutely everything ruined.
When they changed the title to Night of the Living Dead, they took off Night of the Flesh Eaters. In taking that off, they took off the copyright. And when they put on Night of the Living Dead, they didn't reinstate a copyright because they didn't, nobody noticed that the copyright notice had come off. And so, I don't know, 3-4 years into the film's release, a lot of people noticed that the film had no copyright on it. And it remains to this day in public domain.
The producer, director, Chris Rowe, couldn't be here, was going to try to be here, but just couldn't. But he emailed me an acceptance, and Chris says, "It is with great sadness that I can't be with you here tonight. At a time when meaningless award shows are everywhere, it seems, this one stands out in the crowd because it's directly from you, the fans. This project on Night of the Living Dead was really a labor of love. Being George Romero's manager, I've been listening to fans for years ask when something like this was going to be made. The 40th anniversary seemed like the perfect time. I want to thank Rob Lucas and Jess Bryden. A very special thanks to George Romero, Russ Striner, and John Russo for really digging into the past and helping track folks down. Judy O'Day, George Casana, Bill Hinsman. You ever meet him? He's fantastic. Kyra Schoen, Marilyn Eastman, Carl Hardman for jumping on the train down memory lane. And to all the others who contributed to this project in front of and behind the camera, thank you so much. And of course the Rondo Awards for making this all possible. I hope that some of the untold stories of Night of the Living Dead have been revealed. There's still a few more stories to be told. Maybe we'll save those for the 50th. Thank you again, and thank you fans. Chris Rowe, producer and co-director, One for the Fire. So. Okay, thank you for putting up with that. Onward we go. Best Book of 2008. This is one of my favorite categories. Book of Lists Horror, which is has lists. It's in a series of Book of List books, but it's actually pretty good. And the Ray Harryhausen Master of the Magics that Arnold was speaking about. But the winner was The Twilight Zone by Martin Grams, which is an amazing episode-by-episode rundown. He couldn't be here, but he too sent me an email in just a second. Hold on. God. This is worth waiting for. Martin Grams. Deep appreciation for the award. When I wrote the book, there was never a thought of an award behind it, but this reveals just how popular the subject of The Twilight Zone is. With over a dozen books on the subject, I found myself at task to accomplish a book that offered everything you would want to know about Rod Serling's television classic, and it appears I succeeded. After the book was completed, I made arrangements for the author's proceeds, those are his proceeds, to be donated to the Johns Hopkins Comprehensive Cancer Center. This means I receive no author royalties that would usually result from book sales, so this award will serve as self-gratification. Many thanks, Martin Grams. So if you did need a reason to buy that book, I think that's as good as any. That's really cool.